the Quinn Show.
My next guest is making his triumphant return to my show. He's a man whose tour riders are never without socks, who was originally discovered on MySpace, and who's performed for legends like Gene Simmons and Akon. But perhaps more impressively, he's completely reinvented himself, shifting from pop to country in a bold musical 180. It is my pleasure to welcome back to the Quinn Mars Show, Pat Kordyback, aka Delta Sweet. Pat, what's going on, man?
What's going on, dude? Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. I was re-listening to the first episode you're on, and you brought up the whole socks being on your rider thing, and I was like, I gotta mention that just because it's such a unique thing. Do you still do that?
No, man. So that was our drummer actually in Stereos, and he did it because he had toured a lot before, like in bands that actually got riders. Because I toured a ton before Stereos kind of got big, but we never got riders. I'll tell you that much. And he always did. He like the method behind it. I don't know if I explained this the first time I was on the show. Is if they pay attention to detail, like if you show up in the green room and you see those socks, you're like, okay, they got our full rider today. But if you don't see them, you're like, what other corners did they cut?
Right.
And so it was more of a test than that much of a necessity. But I mean, listen, man, having extra socks is never a bad thing, especially for sure.
Exactly. So the last time you were on was October of 2023. At the time, we'd spoken strictly the origins of Stereos, your personal life in between, and then the eventual return of the band. There was no Delta Suite mentioned at the time. Was Delta Suite being created behind the scenes then?
Good question, man. Yes and no.
Yeah.
So I've been this iteration, this Delta Suite that is now, almost a year under my belt, has been in the works essentially for almost 14, 15 years, but it's never been released. And so I did a project that I'd cut songs for, but they just never were released. And it was called The Delta Suite. And it was myself and my other really good friend. Cause I got the name a long time ago, but it never came out, and I'm thankful for it. Because it wasn't ready. And so to answer your question, it was a thought, but I think that since 2023, to be completely transparent with you, like I love Stereo so much, and we still play shows like, throwback stuff. It's fun, but I need more. And I always wanted something. I need something that I can put all of my time into, all my effort. Like I'm consumed by this. I don't want to do it casually. And I think that was the final year of me trying to really push Stereos towards that. And it just wasn't hitting, man, just to be completely honest. Like it's hitting in a different way, in a great way that is, again, like a throwback band that people love. But in terms of trying to like make new music and put it out there and reinvent, like you said, it wasn't hitting. And so that kind of put me in the position where it's like, all right, the only person that, you can kind of count on to get this work done every single day and keep pushing it, no matter, if the results are positive or negative, and not lose interest, is yourself. And so that's where this kind of came from.
Okay, before we get into the synopsis of Delta Suite, I want to go back to that time. So, again, it's October of 2023. I think you released a song for Delta Suite like 4 or 5 months later, maybe. It was early 2024. But you're talking about how
sorry. Then this would have been underway.
Okay, that makes sense then. You talk about Stereos being now more of a throwback band. You have obviously like the groups that are able to still come out with new stuff at the same time doing the throwback. Like you look at Taylor Swift, she did the Eras tour. She kind of brought back the whole, hey, we're going to do old music kind of stuff, right? Yeah. Jonas Brothers are doing it as well. Like they can't get away from Camp Rock and Burning Up. You know what I mean? So for you kind of being the opposite of that, when did it come for you guys saying, you know what, we're just going to do our throwback stuff. We're not going to do new stuff anymore?
I don't think it's a conversation that's been had.
Okay, but you guys kind of like feel it, I guess. That's what it sounds
like. Man, it's just the writing on the wall, dude. If you like, I'll be so honest with you. We can't get, it's very hard to get people to book a band when the songs are not hitting at radio. They're getting no playlist love with your new music. Yeah. And so that was the reality. Our new music wasn't hitting. And that was like on every facet of the industry, unfortunately. And I think we put out an album in 2022, 2022, I want to say, Cheap Thrills. And it's so good. Like this
Glory Days is my favorite, man. I told you this last time. I love Glory Days.
Great tune. And it just wasn't hitting though. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't go on tour when you're pre-selling 20 tickets a night. You just, I don't know what to tell you. And so Stereos is so lucky because we have such a dedicated fan base that I think if we were to have you know, people who are really working this, like a label can work it, management that can work it, an agent we now have, you know, and people who care about it, then you can get stuff going. But it was just strictly ourselves, and it was losing steam, I think. And yeah, it's just the reality. And it doesn't mean that's forever. Like, I would love for Stereos to be in a position where, you know, we get more and more bookings, which is how you make money, to be honest with you, is the live side of things, and maybe make some new music. I'm not opposed to any of that. It's just the difference is that I'm going to let Stereos be what it needs to be and just like stop trying to control where it heads, because it felt like, you know, we just weren't getting anywhere. And I think that's when the best stuff happens. We played like the biggest festival of our careers probably last summer with All Your Friends Fest, and that just came kind of organically, right? It was people at the festival who knew about us and loved us. And when you just, you know, stop trying to like force things, it's crazy how much good can happen. And I think that's what Stereos needs to be. But I also need that thing in my life where it's not like that, where I am working every single day and it's all I think about.
Right, and you need to scratch the itch. What I appreciate though, that is like you guys aren't giving up on Stereos. You're not saying shit. No one wants to hear new stuff, so we're gonna end it. You're going head first into what people love the most, and that was the throwback stuff, right? Which is really cool, because it's so easy for you guys to say, all right, wipe our hands clean. We had this many years, we're done. But you're not.
Totally. And like, there's no reason for Stereos to break up, right? Because like, why? So that like we're all doing our own thing anyway. And if we get offers for cool shows and stuff like that, and we can all get together and tell the same old stories like we used to, and just have fun for a day and get paid to do it, man, come on. Like, that's such a privilege. It's not a bad thing. Like when Stereos, when we're able to accept what we are and realize that it is not a bad thing at all. It is one of the most amazing, unique things that not many bands ever experience, is to have a repertoire that people still remember 15 years later, dude. Like, it's amazing. I'm so proud of everything that band has done.
Dude, I'm happy because 13-year-old me would be so fired up that 29-year-old me is sitting there talking to you. So it is really cool that to still be able to do this kind of stuff, and that like you're easily accessible too. Like I always see you replying to everyone on TikTok, on Instagram and stuff. Destiny Funk from TikTok is a big fan of yours, who's always posting about you.
Yeah, shout out Destiny. She's actually so awesome, for real. So awesome.
She's the best. The reason she found my show was she was searching up to make a TikTok about you, and she wanted to figure out how to pronounce your last name. So she searched it up on YouTube, and then my podcast came up, and I talk to her all the time. Actually, she's awesome. She's a great content creator, and
she's very supportive. And you need people
like Canadian content, right? The CanCon.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, let's dive into Delta Sweet, because I think you mentioned somewhere that you've always been a country fan, but that you just didn't really, like, that wasn't your thing you did. Obviously, with Stereos, it was City Kids before Stereos. It was Turn It Up. It was all that. So give me the synopsis and the origin of Delta Sweet.
Yeah, so country music in my life has been a weird one. I won't lie. So I grew up around it like almost every Alberta kid did. And I'm not going to lie. Like, I think that when I first started hearing it as a kid, I loved it. You know, it's just like, it's all I knew. But then you kind of rebel against what your parents and their friends are listening to as well. So I would say the first time I became like obsessive with music, it was when I found punk rock. And that was like in my early teens. And it was because I kind of like looked up to my cousin who was listening to, at first it was like heavier stuff like Metallica, I remember, and like metal, but then he got really into punk rock. And then that's where I was like, that was my first passion in life. And that's where I decided I wanted to be in a band, was because of the punk rock scene here in Edmonton. And to end up at country as a 40-year-old is sort of just like so funny and poetic about so many things in my life, because growing up in Edmonton, you always think this place sucks. It's the worst. It's Edmonton, man. Like, it would be so sick to live in California and all blah, blah, blah. And when Stereos got signed and we had, 4 good years, but that whole thing was very brief in the scheme of things. We lived in Toronto, and I loved Toronto in my 20s, man. Are you kidding me? Like, it was the best. And now I just would never, ever in a million years live anywhere but Alberta. I don't think. Like, I always say, if money was no object, I'd probably move to the mountains, but I'd still live in Alberta. Like, I love it here. And my parents were right all along about, you'll love Alberta one day. And the music is the same thing, man. I find that I'm getting to scratch every creative itch I have with respect to storytelling and melody and being myself as an artist. And I think that, like you mentioned, TikTok, and I don't love needing to do TikTok, but at the same time, I'm having more fun with it now because I don't have to fake anything. Like, I am so upfront about, I'm not a cowboy, dude. I'm not, but I am an Alberta boy through and through. And I will always be authentic in that respect. And so the stories I tell are things that I've lived firsthand, or, you know, with my co-writers ever, that they have firsthand. So I'm always telling a story that's true. And to me, that's sort of that's all I care about doing.
It's so interesting to me that, like, basically from the start, you were like, I'm not going to do country. Like, it was pop punk, it was pop rock. It was just like, it, I don't want to say it didn't seem like you tried, but you're like, hey, I don't want to do this all. Like, this is like, it's pop for me, which is really interesting. Like that 180, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know, like, obviously we mentioned before how, like, there were different versions of your band. You were in different bands and everything, but there was never you trying to be country at first, huh?
Not at first, but it wasn't like a conscious decision. I'm not doing country. It was always just
Right.
like, I'm obsessed with punk rock. It's just like, it was the thing that, where the live show was just as important to me as the you know, recording. And honestly, in the early days, recording wasn't even a possibility for so many of us. Like, we, you know, not everyone had a studio in their house like they do now, and the money you would have had to spend was not money that bands had. It was all about just playing shows in front of kids. And it was like, you know, hopefully if they learn your words at the next show, and then more and more people start showing up, it was just having the best show possible. That was the motivator. And then if you were really, really lucky and you were really going to live your dream, you'd be able to get, you know, save up some money and get a 15-passenger van and then be on tour and sleep in Walmart parking lots. That was my ceiling, as far as I considered, for me in music, was I could live the life of the bands that I worshiped, and then none of them were playing stadiums at that point.
That is so insane. I normally would ask, like, someone like you, like, oh, if you were to restart, like, your career, like, what would you do different than you did at the beginning? But you technically did. So how different has this been now, trying to create this new persona versus you and the guys in Stereo back in 2008?
Oh, I mean, it's just, I just think I'm in a different place in my life. I think that's what I wanted to do at the time. And that's the other thing too, is that, you know, we were a major label band, and a lot of people, and we were on a reality show. That's how we were discovered. And a lot of people ask, like, how much of it was real? And it's like, dude, it was all real. And that was all us. Like, we never had a stylist. We dressed the way we dressed, for better or for worse. And
The basketball jerseys. Yep.
dude, the basketball jersey, I'm making it. And, you know, the hair was my idea too. And we, you know, I wrote all the songs. Like, it was all me.
Yeah.
And that's just who I was. I was in my 20s. I was obsessed with, like, by the time I started really getting underway with Stereos, I was really into hip hop and R&B, especially like Atlanta bass. Like, The Dream was my favorite writer. And, you know, I wanted the lifestyle of the VIP and this and that. And it was what I, you know, put out there, and the stories we told. But now I'm way too old for that, and would have the worst time ever being in a VIP. And I write about, you know, where I'm at in life now and some experiences along the way. But it's always just been what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. And I think that every artist should be able to do that. Hopefully fans like it, but if they don't, that's okay. I think your audience should be an audience of one, and that should be yourself.
True. That's true. Because, yeah, if you want to just fake it, it's like, in the end, the only person that's going to be shitty for is you. So
Totally.
do that all you want.
I was making TikToks, dude, like, trying to, like, finagle my way onto a private jet to make it look like I'm topping the charts with Billboard. Holy, like, I see that out there. And if that's what you want to do, go for it, bro. But I find that exhausting. I like that you know, I can drive 10 minutes away from my house and be in a big wide open field and make content that looks and feels like it sounds.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like even for me, like, when I was a kid versus now, like, my mind would have been blown knowing, and again, I don't think easy is the right word, but like, how you can get your stuff out to people, I guess, a lot easier. Like, that must be just the word. Like, before, like you mentioned, like, you need the label, you need a manager, you need an agent. Like, they need to do all these things for you. You literally go make a 10-second video, you put it up. It could catch fire, it could not. But like, it's just fact that you have everything in your hand is kind of nuts.
Yeah, it's awesome. It puts a lot of pressure on you. So you have to be a self-starter, right? Like, we all have the same devices in our hands with access to put out this content. But are you doing it in a way that's funny? Or are you doing it in a way where people are like, this guy seems like a douchebag?
Right.
Well, which is why I think it's important to laugh at myself. Like, you know, and I think that we all have the same tools. It's just how you use them that matters. And at the end of the day, sometimes it's just who you know as well. Like, you got to understand, this is an industry with no HR department. I can't go to someone and say, I've been doing this 20 years, man. Like, I deserve a promotion. Put me on the main stage. Doesn't work that way.
No.
You know, you'll get on the main stage when the main stage wants to book you. And sometimes deserves got nothing to do with it.
Your audience is your HR.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I'll say that. I have been so immensely blessed, and I think a lot of them are Stereos carryovers, that with a fan base that is very engaged and very supportive.
Right, 100%. You mentioned about wow, I just totally lost what I was gonna say. Oh, so yeah, it was about the TikTok. So a lot of artists I've noticed that like they're kind of like, you can tell that the content they put on there is like forced, was what they're told to do, whatever. Like yours, you can see your own humor and comedy like come through the screen. Have you ever had anyone tell you like, oh, dude, like maybe don't do that, or that's not gonna look good for your image, like anything like that?
All the time.
Really?
It's often my mom. Like
my mom says the same thing, so I get that.
Dude, I just went to Montreal. We had a show out there. And first of all, like I would say anyone who follows me on Instagram, 99% of the stuff I post is sarcasm in some way. Like I post dudes rock.
I was just gonna mention that.
It's almost always an example of dudes being dumb as hell. Right? It's not like I think, guys should be ripping cigarettes, lighting themselves on fire, going over jumps on quads, right? Like, I'm like, yeah, that rules, like dudes rock, but also dumb. And so we just did a show in Montreal, and the row we walked by, like right by the hotel, there was a Hooters, which, by the way, those are so rare to see in the wild now.
They really are.
So I posted on my story, I was like, it's so cool that Montreal has such cool, like different restaurants, like unique restaurants. And it was Hooters. But since we passed it like night and day, like a few times, I posted it like 4 times. I was like, oh, cool restaurant. And my mom's like, you know what, honey, I just don't think people are going to find that very funny. It's like, it can be exploiting women. And I was like, well, I mean, Mom, like anyone who thinks that I think that Hooters is actually the sickest restaurant is missing the joke to begin with. Now, she might watch this because she is so supportive. She's the best mom in the world. And so if I post that I did this interview, she's probably going to listen to this. And Mom, I love you so much. And, she's the best. But yeah, I think she misses the point of the content I put out. But I would rather be like me than it is exhausting. And I think that like sometimes being in the pop world, you got to like just mind your P's and Q's so much that it's so annoying. And like, I am a person who likes to make fun of himself. I love all people and I like telling jokes. And, if some people don't get my humor, that's fine too. But at the same time, I really am having so much more fun now just being myself than I've ever had, I would say.
Yeah, and I don't want to like shit on like labels and stuff or like any of your previous labels, but I feel like in 2010, if you guys had TikTok and you're trying to post the ones you are now, I don't think that would have happened.
No, and we got like shut down. We like made some joke songs with these guys called Tall Guy, Short Guy. One of them is Ryan Long. I don't know if you know him, but he's like a massive comedian now.
Okay.
And he's such a talented guy, but he was in a band called the Johnstones. And then he did this thing called Tall Guy, Short Guy. And then Rob and I did like I did like a spin-off video with them. And yeah, the label shut it down because I don't even know what the point was. They're like, oh, this isn't funny. Do you want to be associated with them? I remember that line. And
he said, yeah, I do. That's why I did it.
Yeah. I wish I never gave in. There's so much stuff with that though. Like,
well, and that's the thing though, but you're also new to it. It was like the label, like what they say goes kind of thing. Again, it's just different than it is now.
Yeah. I mean, you could put your foot down, but at the same time, is that really the relationship you want with the label?
And is that the hill you wanted to die on versus other issues? Yeah, no, that's fair. I get that. Now, what is it? I know you also mentioned about like Edmonton and just like the vibes and everything, but like, what is it about country music specifically that you love so much? Because I love country music. So the fact that you moved over country music is sick. But yeah, like, why do you love it so much?
I think it is a genre that commands and deserves respect with respect to the history and the storytelling ability. I think that like, obviously you can tell a story in any genre, but I think country speaks to people who, maybe who are trying to be authentically themselves on a daily basis. And again, this is not me saying that no other genre does this. Every genre can do anything. I think country is just unique in its ability to tell a story. And that's the most simple I can put it. Like, it's really challenged me as a writer where, listen, man, you can be writing a song about drinking whiskey. Okay. And it's cliche, whatever. Well, for me to get that song past my producer to cut the song, he's going in with a fine tooth comb. And sometimes it annoys the heck out of me. Where he's like, what's this word mean? I'm like, dude, like that word, like whatever, but he's always right. Like you can't waste a word with country. And so I think that it just really challenges me to work on the lyrical side, which is something that I haven't always been strong with, to be completely honest. I'm very good at melody. I've been blessed that I just hear songs in my head before they're written, to be honest with you, but putting words to them and telling a story that people can relate to is so challenging. And so I respect the genre unlike any other.
Right. You mentioned this to me before, and you just mentioned kind of melodies and stuff right now. So your love for 50s, 60s Motown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you realizing how simple core progressions as a backdrop for very catchy melodies were the way to go for you, like when you first started.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same way for country, or is it different now?
No, 100%. For me, I'm a major chord, catchy melody guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like country, they call it 3 chords in the truth. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's 3 chords in the truth. And it's like, for me, first of all, I actually kind of saw this the other day. There's a band online right now. I don't even remember the name. It's a metal band that they're getting torched by Pitchfork or something. Like, and I saw it, and I'm not even going to listen to it because I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't think music critics should exist. I'm sorry. Like, you can give your opinion, but the fact that no one is better at listening to music than any other person. I'm sorry. That's objectively true because it is so subjective. Like, it is like saying, this chocolate ice cream, everyone should like this chocolate ice cream. And if you like strawberry, you actually are a dumbass. Like, you have the worst. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
Right.
Like what you like. And it's the same thing with music. And so for me, I like music where if they were to play the chords with one hand on a piano and the vocal melody with the other hand, I can tell if I have a song because
it's crazy.
It's catchy. And so I told the story recently. When I wrote Summer Girl, each part of that song was a different chorus that I had been saving. And so the bridge, the like, let me see you move, come on now and show me just how you do. That was a chorus I had. And so I made a song of like 4 choruses. And I think that that's why, you know, people laugh. It's like doo wop, let's make it happen, shorty. Like, not the best lyrical content, but melodically, man, like, I think I killed it on that one. And like, so for me, it's always been like, I love good lyrics, and then they make a catchy song even better. But for me, if you don't have melody, you've got a poem, and I can't listen to a poem. Right. Like I have done co-writes where people don't have any chords. It's just words. And I'm like, great, dude. But I don't know what to tell you. Like I like that's.
It starts and ends there. Yeah, no, that's fair. Have you heard of like Charlie Puth and like his music ear?
I've heard
like he's crazy. Like, you should watch some videos of him. Like, you can play any note on piano or anything, and he'll be able to tell you what it is just by the one note. Like,
yeah,
it's
some freaks out there.
Crazy what he does. I love how you mentioned the whole critic thing, because for movies, my one buddy always will be like, "Oh, this is what Rotten Tomatoes said about this movie," and I'm like, they could say it's the best movie ever. They could say it's the worst movie ever. If I think it looks good, I'm going to go see it. If I don't think it looks good, I'm not going to go see it. Would you feel the same way about movies versus music, critic-wise?
Yes. Art should not be... There's no... Who gets into art for rules? Like,
True. I don't... And that was like the ice cream thing you just said. That's literally as simple as that.
Dude, when I don't... Like, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I'm telling you right now, every Will Ferrell movie had me in stitches. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that they weren't getting Oscar noms.
Right.
I don't care. Yeah. Like go away. I literally don't care. I don't think art should be... I'm not saying you shouldn't have an opinion on it. We all have opinions on it. But when it goes from this is what I like into this is what you guys should all like, says who? Like, and I'll say this, man, like, music is my life, right? I will way rather hang out with a guy who has opposite music taste from me, if he's a chill dude, than someone who has the same music taste as me and comes at it like, well, actually, this album, like, get out of here. Leave.
Yep. So true.
No desire. And
it's also insane that people get paid to tell other people what they should listen to or watch.
I don't think there's tons of money left in it.
I mean, it's a lot different than, let's say, like 15 years ago when Roger Ebert was shitting on Jackass, but like, it's kind of like, yeah, it definitely is not the same as it used to be.
Yeah, and listen, man, like, I'm sure there are music critics out there who are like, actually, I should be doing this. And sure, dude, I don't want anyone to lose their jobs. Hey, like, if you can get a bag to do a job that I think sucks, good for you, man. But I certainly don't care. And it's funny, I will say this, like when I have demos that I want opinions on, I often send them to my sister. And that's because she doesn't care about anything other than she's so good at being like, yep, this is really good. And at being like, and I'm like, really? Because in the moment that kills me. But like, she just listens to music she's the average music listener. She likes music. She plays it in the gym. She plays it in the car. But she's like, she can tell when there's a good song there. But it's not like she doesn't come at it with a mindset. Like I have musician friends who work in music production and everything. I almost never send them my stuff because they're gonna give you an opinion.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really smart, actually. I should do that with my sister because she doesn't care about my podcast. So I should just start doing that with her. I should start sending them to her and get her opinion.
Dude, yeah, I think people who like instead of sending it to other podcasters, because they'll be like, "Well, your intro needs a title." Like, who cares, dude?
That's so true. I like that. I'm gonna take that. Speaking of advice and everything, I'm taking that. I love it. What has been the reaction from fans like when you first introduced yourself as Delta Sweet?
Dude, I'm surprised at how like 99.9% positive. You will always get little troll losers, and that's okay. And I feel for them because like they're obviously not having a good day if they're going to be upset that a stranger is making a kind of music that they don't want them to. Like, you know, who cares? But like, yeah, I can't say enough good things. I think the Stereos fan base, again, I have realized how much respect I owe to my band, because even though I am now a solo artist, like a lot of my TikToks that pop off are me referencing Stereos, what I used to do, and then what I do now. And that's what catches the eye. I'm self-aware enough to know that what I used to do is a huge reason why I have eyeballs on me now. And with that said, I'm so lucky that the fans of that band have come with me along for this journey. It's very, very rare that I will see or hear someone who is like, man, I love Stereos, and therefore I want nothing to do with this, because they're also 15 years older than they were when they found Stereos, and their tastes have changed. I did see one TikTok, like, I want to say like almost a year ago now, and it was really interesting because she was like, what is with all these artists going country, like Faber Drive, Stereos? And she says, she's like, do you know, I would kill for a new Stereos album. And like, you know, blah, blah, blah. The funniest part, dude, is we put one out and you didn't even know we put one out. And that's the point. Why do you think maybe us musicians are trying to diversify? Because we are making new albums, and people like you who say like, I want it. You don't even like it's out there and you didn't even know about it. And it's like, I think that people are very, for the most part, very, very cool with seeing people who are happy doing what they love and wanting to buy into that. Just even on an emotional level, I all the time people are like, you know what, I'm not really a country fan, but I love you and I love what you're doing and I'm going to support this. And that means the world to me.
That's awesome. When you were coming up to the day of like, was it one day all of a sudden you posted on your Instagram, hey, I'm now doing a solo project, Delta Sweet? So then how did that work then leading up to it? Like, also you did a photo shoot, your music was, you were working on the music and everything, but like, did you plan that one day, okay, this is the day I'm saying, hey, this is Delta Sweet?
Yeah. So big shout out to my friend Ashton Adams, who I collabed with on my first country song. Like, he's a DJ. It was kind of EDM song. He was able to help me and kind of guide me through what he thought was best. He always left the ball in my corner, but essentially we liked the idea of, yeah, man, it was months and months and months in the works. And then it was the Monday before it came out, that Friday, that I announced it. And so it was just like, and I think it's smart. And that's a lot of the way I usually tease my songs, is no more than 2 weeks in advance. And sometimes even 1 week, where it's like, hey, guess what? This is coming out and it's coming out on Friday. And then I can post content throughout the week to keep it on the front burner. But like, I personally think gone are the days of, for me, announcing a song months in advance, because people's attention spans are there's so many things competing for their attention that I don't think it makes sense. Like, it will lose steam, other than your very, very core fans, which are hard to come by for musicians.
Right. And then that comes back to the social media, is like, yeah, everyone has the attention span of a gnat now. Yeah, and I'm one to talk, dude. I'm one of them ever since like the way social media is nowadays. And like, I had ADHD before, and it got 10 times worse with all these just the scrolling through the TikTok. Were 100%. You nervous that day to post it?
Oh no.
Or more excited?
Excited.
Yeah, you weren't nervous at all for like whatever reaction could have happened?
Not really, man.
No, that's good though. That's good. That's how you know that like you know what you were gonna do was right and like gonna work, I guess.
Dude, I went to college of musicianships in like my stereos days. I saw what it was like to have a ton of fans and almost just as many haters, it felt like, and to recognize what you should listen to and what you shouldn't. And yeah, no, I'm not really I don't care about noise.
That's awesome though. I mean, like you kind of, it sounds like you just said, you kind of had to go through that first to get to the point where like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Like I want people to like it, man. Like I'm not gonna be able to keep the lights on if I do this and no one likes it. So of course I want that. But at the same time, you know, I can't worry about people who are coming at it in bad faith, which is just essentially to troll. Like what? Again, listen, the Oilers knocked out the Golden Knights last night, right? I'm not going to have a bad day today. I know what it feels like to be having a good day. And I got gas this morning and I was so nice to the guy, like when I got gum at the same time, because like I'm having the best day. And like, I'm going out for dinner tonight. I'm probably going to tip extra because I'm having a good day because the Oilers won. So, and guess what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to put anonymous mean comments online because I'm having a good day, dude. And I never would anyways. But like anyone who's doing that online they're not having a good day. I don't know what to say. And I feel bad for you.
It's a good week for you. Your birthday, the Oilers won. You're going out for dinner today. That's a good week.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a good week, man. Hopefully, you know, it's all about trying to have good weeks.
That's it, man. Yeah, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months. So we talked about like getting like feedback from fans when you did this switch. Did you feel or face any pushback from the industry or people in the industry when you did this?
Good question. Yeah, you know, I've had it all, man. I've had people tell me, I don't think people are going to take you seriously. I've had people tell me this isn't a country song. And then I've had people tell me or leave me on red, you know, like trying to, you know, get people to check it out what I'm doing. I'm not worried about me. I know that I'm not going anywhere. And so, yeah, of course. Yeah. To answer your question, yes, I've had people who were not bought in and probably still aren't, and who are probably not thinking this is going to go anywhere, but we'll see, I guess.
Now you seem like a very positive guy, obviously, but like, do you hold a little bit of grudges when you get the whole like left on red when you're asking like people's opinions and that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I don't blame you because I would too, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I try to work on that. It's trying to like, I can use it as very positive fuel for myself, or it's very, very easy for it to turn into negative feelings, and those come and go. And so I really don't think that my motivation ever is about other people. And it shouldn't be. I don't try and compare myself to other artists, even if deep down I'm like, my songs are better. Who cares, man? Like if they're doing the same thing, if they have the same dream as me and they're doing well at it, then any negative feelings I would have are from a place of probably jealousy, and that's not a person I want to be. And so that's not something that I want to let in. So holding grudges, I really, really hope that as this keeps going, I feel confident that it will be something where they look on it and they think, oh man, I probably missed on that. I don't think about it any further than that.
I like that. No, that's a good way to look at it. You're talking about music festivals earlier. So you're doing one in a couple of weeks. I think it's next weekend or in 2 weeks or something like that in Hamilton. And then you talked about all your friends from last year. Now, how different is something like All Your Friends to a country music festival?
Well, I mean, it's similar in a way. I would say like country music festivals are the best crowd, man. Like I'll just be honest. Well, yeah, because they just want to have the best time possible, and that really is compatible with the music I make and always have made, right? Like stereos as well. It's all about just like having the best time ever. And so if I'm with a crowd that's having the best time ever, I'm gonna put on a good show. It's just like you feed off each other that way. All Your Friends Fest though was like so special because it was people who were literally feeling something that only the nostalgia of those types of bands could provide. And so I think that I felt appreciation from that festival and that crowd in a way that I'm not going to be able to get from Delta Suite for a very long time. And that is something that these are core memories that you're giving us and that we're living out through this band. And Delta Suite is just way too new to be, to give that. And so it was a 10 out of 10 experience playing All Your Friends Fest. And that's the thing, man, is I love that they're different, right? I think it would be weird if my solo project was like pop music that kind of competed with things I could be writing for stereos or putting out with stereos. And they're so different to me. And they're both so great in different ways.
Now, it is cool, like you just mentioned, about doing the two different genres. And this might be a dumb question, but like obviously, if I'm gonna listen to Summer Girl, even if you sang it today, versus I'm gonna listen to Poor Little My Way, how do you like? Obviously, you sound country when you do the country music. So like when you're recording these, like what are you doing differently? Again, this might be a stupid ass question, but like what are you doing differently to sound different?
It's just the way you pronounce things a little bit more pronounced.
There's a twang on the country words.
Twang, and it's something that I've never struggled to have. I've been accused of doing it in the studio for stereo stuff in the past.
Really?
That's the other thing. Doing the Stereos album, like the first one, the producers say like you sound country on some songs, which is like, and I never heard it. Our manager in Stereos, I love him, but like we were doing an acoustic version of Look Good, which is a song on the last Stereos album, and he he swore I was singing with the twang, and I was like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. And like I think he got outvoted. Like I don't think anyone else heard it, but hey man, maybe it was foreshadowing. Maybe he was the only one who was right, actually.
There you go. I mean, the same thing, like people always say like us Canadians have accents, so that could also be a thing too. Like you have that Alberta accent potentially, you know what I mean?
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know what it is. I think that like I won't lie, people find it cheesy, but like every time, whether it's with Stereos or it's with Delta Suite, like in the studio on stage, I'm not just me. There's an element of that being a character that you are portraying anyways. And so, yeah, when I'm performing Delta Suite, it came very, very, very naturally to me, to be honest.
That's good though. Yeah. So when you're performing at like, let's say All Your Friends versus like a country music festival, like the way your performance is yourself on stage, what are you doing differently between the two?
Nothing, I don't think.
Nothing.
I think you'd maybe have to ask other people who've seen me in a few, but I think that's why I think I'm able to do something really special in country, is that the way I move on stage, the way I talk, the way I do dumb little dances, it is all the same.
That's cool. Just the sounds different.
Just sounds different.
That's sick. So obviously you have Delta Suite. What are the other guys doing in the meantime when you aren't doing stereos together?
Man, Rob is about to be a dad.
Whoa.
Any day, I want to say maybe within the next few weeks. He's a personal trainer. He's jacked. Always has been. Miles is, I think he's always just working in music. I don't know in what capacity, to be completely honest with you. And then Aaron, our drummer, is full on, like huge into publishing and music and writing. He does a lot of kids TV shows like for Netflix and stuff like that. Very, very impressive stuff. And then Dan is the most interesting man in the world. He just lives in the desert. And I don't even know what he's doing half the time. He's like building something always. He does some house painting to make some money. And then he puts that money into I think he's probably trying to build like a cult commune on his piece of land in Arizona. I don't really know. And yeah, he's my, my favorite guy for a lot of reasons. And that's one of them. He's just such a weirdo and just always, just working hard every day and complaining about it. But that's why we love him.
And it is so sick though, because like even though you guys are doing all these different things, even though they're all still in music, the fact that you can come together and do like stereos when stereos is needed is sick. So like speaking of that, like how does that work? Obviously, you guys did the festival last year. I don't know what your guys' plans are this year as a band, but like how often do you guys either rehearse together, if ever, or like when these festivals show up, that's like, hey, yep, let's do it. Like you all have to agree, obviously. So like how does any of that work?
Yeah, we have a group chat. When offers come in, we discuss them, see if we're all available. If we are, and the money's right, we'll make it happen. And then, unfortunately, because we don't get together that often, we usually require at least one rehearsal, which is very annoying. But we usually do that in Toronto. It usually seems like most of our opportunities are based in Ontario. Anyways, it doesn't matter what city, but if we'll usually meet up a date or two before, do a rehearsal, and then get on stage, play together, have a good night, and just, like I said, reminisce on the amazing times that we've had. I joke that any of our significant others who have been around us for any period of time probably get super annoyed because they've heard the stories a million times. And if they've heard the stories a million times, we certainly have. And it's just the same, same dumb stories, you know, Rob and Dan getting into a fist fight over whether or not I was going to make bus call at 3 a.m. and I made it at 2:58. You know, that story gets told every time we're all together.
It's so funny that you say that because like me and my like buddies from high school and elementary school do the same thing, but your guys is like at a different level. Because do you remember when we were touring with Katy Perry? Remember that time we were with the Black Eyed Peas? Like it's a little different versus like when me and my buddies are talking about like a bush party.
Dude, one time Dan and I went to this like house party type thing, and I'm gonna try and make this a short story. And
Dude, I don't care.
We were meeting like everyone for the first time, and these two guys, like one of them had a tattoo, and I forget. I think Dan's like, "Oh, what's that tattoo mean?" And they're like, "Oh, like, you know, it's like a really like our girlfriends," and their girlfriends were there. Like they haven't even heard, they don't even know the story. Like we keep this under wraps. And dude, long story short, it was like their story about a bar fight they got into, and we're like, bro, that was a Tuesday night in Stereos. Like that's your big story that you like,
right?
Like for better or for worse. Like we were just kids being dumbasses. But I will say this: like the stories that we have are just fuel. I'm so thankful for like the amazing, unique, weird times that we were all able to have. Yeah,
it must feel like a different life sometimes, though. No.
Oh yeah, it's a completely different thing. And like, dude, I don't drink anymore. I don't go out. I barely leave the house. I'm like an old man. If I am, like, I just did a show on the weekend, and there was an after party, and I was thankful to do the after party because I love this place called Daisy's in Edmonton. They're so supportive of me, take really good care of me. But dude, like, I didn't get there till 11, and I was like so tired. The next day, I had no voice from just like yelling, trying to talk to people, and it was like I was tired for like 3 days after, just because I stayed up past midnight one night.
Oh God. Yeah, but that is a lot different though. It's like, especially like a sober person around drunk people can also be annoying as shit.
Yeah, dude.
So like there's been like times where like that's happened like me because like I mean I do drink, but like the few times where like you're either the DD or you're just not drinking just because you don't feel like it. Being the sober one around drunk people is the worst. I couldn't imagine like that. Like you're getting there at 11, like
Yeah, dude. I think I was there till 1, and like for me that's just bananas. It was, but again, they took such good care of us, and like they hooked me up with the alcohol-free Olays. Shout out Olay for making those. They were great. Probably just full of sugar, but you know, it's but yeah, different experience. Whereas like 24, 25-year-old me in Stereos would be just like sick to his stomach hearing me say this, where it's like we didn't even sleep and we would do, you know, breakfast television acoustic in the morning and be fine. I don't know how we had the stamina.
That's unreal. And yeah, so I remember you were about, I think you said it'd been 2 years or 3 years since you had drank when I had you on last. So you're gotta be at least 5 now. So I don't think I asked you before, but like, what was the decision? Like, was it one day you just like, I'm not gonna drink anymore?
So what happened was Stereos is supposed to have a tour coming up in 2021 or 2. I forget which now. Like all those years are a blur now.
Yep.
And it didn't end up happening because of COVID restrictions still. But anyways, a few months out, I decided that I was going to stop drinking because I knew I couldn't drink on tour anymore because I probably permanently damaged my voice the first time around from drinking and partying and singing.
Really?
I really have to baby my voice now. Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
And so it was basically that. It was just a few months out, stop drinking to get in the mode where I felt like it would probably be a little bit risky to drink on or quit drinking on day 1 of a tour.
Yeah.
And so, but then in the interim between the 2 times, I just, like every cliche, man, my skin got clearer. I lost weight, felt better. I felt like I looked better. You know, I was able to like just work out more and no hangovers, dude. Like that's like, for me, it was just like, oh, okay, well, like I'm never doing that again.
Right.
And it was honestly kind of cold turkey. I was just done.
I'll do that every few months or like maybe once a year. Like I'll go like 3-4 months without drinking. And I remember watching an interview, I think it was with Tom Holland. He doesn't drink anymore either. And he actually came out with his own non-alcoholic beer. And he has like a lot of good insight and like just opinion on why he doesn't drink and just like reasons. And no, it's true. Like going to the bar with your buddies. Yeah. Like you could be the DD. You could see them do all like the dumb stuff, whatever. You drive them home, you go to bed, you wake up feeling fine. Just like thing he kind of said, right? And like you said, your skin looked better, you felt better, no hangovers is massive. So no, I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It was the first night we went out and I was not drinking. It was Halloween that year. And we went to like a show was a bunch of guys, and then we like went back to this apartment after and had like an after party, and I wasn't drinking. It was my first night, and it was like 3 a.m. and it hit me. I was like, you can drive home now and you're fine. And this is the first night. It was like within a week of me quitting, and I was like, this is the best feeling in the world. And then waking up the next day, like not having to figure out how to get my car, like that type of thing, dude. Like the small things, I hated that.
So true. Not having an Uber, or you're gonna spend a bunch of money on food once you get back home by Uber Eats. Like, yeah, no, that's true. I love that.
It was so, and the money I've probably saved over the last few years is just probably ridiculous.
God, don't rub it in. You mentioned about the whole group chat thing with all your bandmates. You don't have to name names. Has there been a time when like you guys were presented an opportunity and then you all go, yeah. The one guy goes, no, and then you guys didn't do it?
No, to be honest. Yeah, not yet. I mean, we had a potential thing coming up this summer. It's not happening, but it was the only snag was Rob being like, dude, if my kid's born, like I can't, but you guys go do it. Like he's chill. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So no, well, we've been lucky. It could happen. I would say this though, like I feel like that factor would be money, and Stereos is lucky because we kind of have a minimum that we would even entertain to begin with. And if we don't get that, then it's probably not even making its way to the group chat, to be honest.
That's fair. And again, like I think like your manager and all them, like they all know what you guys would say yes to as well, right?
I think shows break down to 3 categories, and I think that honestly they break down to these 3 categories no matter what level your career is at. Is it good money? Is it a good opportunity? Or are you doing it with good people that you want to be associated with, right? And ideally you can get 2 of the 3, right? Because there are situations where Stereos would play for free if we were offered Maroon 5 at Bud Stage, or I don't even
right.
Like we'd be like, yeah, we'll probably get ourselves out there and do that.
Yeah.
Or it would be like, hey, you're going to play to like a corporate show for, I don't even know, you know, a tech company. It's probably going to be a bunch of like guys in white collared shirts, but they're going to give you a bag to do it. And we'd be like, yep, we'll be there. You know what I mean?
Fair. It's all situational. No, I get that.
Oh yeah. Or or like, again, really good people. It's like, man, it would be sick to get a tour with that band. So we'll go do it. We'll take less money to get in with that. You know, take less than you're worth to get on a good stage. It's a good look. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can be like, yeah. Anyway, so those factors, and I apply that to Delta Suite, to be completely honest too.
I mean, you know what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and it was for me. Like I don't personally want to play everything. I just don't. I'll be honest, I don't.
No, I know, and 100%. And you've been around long enough that like I feel like you've earned that, right? So.
Again, is I
know that's a bad way to phrase it, but like you know what you want to play at, I guess, right?
I think if an artist is so in love with playing live that they want to play anything, it could be a cafe, it could be a restaurant sitting down where people are eating wings, talking to each other and not looking at you, and you just love it because you want to play, then do it.
Right.
So I think it's up to the artist, but I think even smaller artists, if they don't love doing those things, and it's not paying off in a way that promotes their brand or gets them, you know, some financial benefit. I don't think I think that's sort of a misguided idea that, oh, you're starting out, you should be playing everything. I don't necessarily agree with that.
No, that's 100% fair. And you know better than me. So, Wednesday, May 27th, 2009, big day in your life. And actually the anniversary is coming up. It's about to be 16 years in a couple of weeks, which is probably nuts for you. Can you believe it's been that long?
No.
That's nuts, huh? Now talk to me. We talked about this before, but talk to me about how much that day in 2009 means to you.
Yeah. Amazing day, man. Stereos played a show at a place called Supermarket in Kensington, Toronto to no people. And we knew that the episode was airing that night. And we got some texts from people like being like, oh my God, it's on. And that night, Rob and I went to a show for a band called Strung Out, which is one of my favorite all-time like skate punk bands. And we started getting recognized at that show. People were like, wait, were you on the show? Like, we're like, yeah. And then the next morning we went to Walmart and people were stopping us every 2 seconds for photos, and went to McDonald's, same thing. And we're like, oh my God, dude, this is like, it's so interesting, right? Because like it was literally overnight success, like what you hear, but for us, it was 10 years in the making. Like we'd played shows, we'd had good opportunities where you know, for a couple days, more people are adding you to MySpace or whatever it would have been at the time. But then it always dies out. And this was like, oh my God, like this is life changing. Like our lives are going to change. And it's kind of, before you know it, it's already has changed. And like, I want to say it was within 3 weeks of that show airing that we were opening for Katy Perry at Bud Stage in Toronto. And we went behind the stage to like, I think our van, and kids were coming up to the fence for photos and like autographs. And we didn't stop for the entire Katy Perry set, which meant kids were missing Katy Perry, who they'd go to pay and see to get photos with us. And it's just like, dude, that was within 3 weeks of the episode. And that 3-week mark, that day, May 27th, you know, no one knew who we were. It's crazy.
I don't think people nowadays, like younger people, know how massive Katy Perry was back then. Obviously, she's still like huge now, but like early 2010s Katy Perry, like 2008, 9, 10, huge. So the fact that all these little kids are running away, not caring about her, just to come see you guys is so sick. Now, I know obviously it's a whole like, yes, we always believed in ourselves. We knew one day something would happen. Did you think it was going to be that quick, that 12 hours from the episode airing to like Walmart, McDonald's, like everyone like, holy dude, I just saw you on TV?
I don't know if I considered it down to that detail, but I will tell you this, is I remember missing the phone call from Greg Norrie about the TV show and listening to his voicemail and telling the guys, we're going to go on this show and we are going to be the best ones and we are going to turn into Much Music's band. And that was when I was still in Edmonton. We were playing flag football or something that night. And so I did predict exactly how it was going to go because I knew that we were ready for it. And I knew that we were unlike anything that was happening.
That's unreal. Just talking about touring and everything. I know your favorite spot on just in touring in general is New Orleans. Now, have you gone back there as Delta Suite and have you been able to like bring the country vibe there?
No, I would love to. I would love to. I mean, I haven't been to New Orleans in years, man. Like and so since I quit drinking, I haven't been. I don't know. I would love it as much.
True.
I think I will. It's such a sick city, man. There's so much history there and love it. I would love it. I would love to go back.
Yeah,
100%. But no, I haven't brought the stateside at all yet, man. I would love to. Yeah.
Huh. You mentioned to me before about collabing, like how you seem like it's more of the thing to do versus like when you first started out, like people weren't really doing it as much. Where do you stand on like collaborating now and like how it gets to other artist fan bases than it did before? Because like, yeah, it's again, that's where the social media comes back.
Yeah. Huge in collaboration. I think that whether it be, you know, on an actual song where you can both release it to your own fan bases, and get some algorithm love that way too. It's strategic, but it's smart. Or down to a live show. I've been working so much with other artists lately, locally. Like there's a guy named Dan Davidson out here who's like so amazing to me, and you know he has helped me out a ton. And I think collaboration is always the key, 100%. And that's one of the biggest lessons I've learned being a solo artist is that you are not solo at all. You need a team. You need people who help you out. You need people who believe in you. And you can't do it without that. So I'm huge on collaboration in every facet of the industry, 100%.
I love that. Last Stereo's question for you is, you guys came out with Summer Girl, Our Version. Is there going to be more Our Version songs coming out?
No. I mean, never say never.
I just think you're breaking my heart. That was such a quick no.
No, I just think it would be kind of transparent and weird and cheesy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I will say. I think it would be very cool to do a Stereo's Delta Suite collaboration because I am in both, and maybe give a country flavor to some Stereo songs.
That gives me Slim Shady, Marshall Mathers.
I don't know.
Eminem. What do you mean?
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Like I think it was have you seen the music video Houdini that came out last year of Eminem? No. When it was Eminem and then it was Slim Shady from 2004 in the music video.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know about that. That sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, so that's what that gives me vibes of, like when he does the horror, he'll do his interludes and he'll do the skits of him talking to himself. Obviously, it's the different characters. That's what that gives me vibes of, and that's sick.
That's so cool. I had no idea he did that. I thought you were like when you said it gives me Slim Shady. I was like, oh no, what am I?
No, not a bad thing. No, that's sick. That's sick. I got some rapid fire questions, and then I have one final question that I ask every guest. So the rapid fire, first country song you ever loved?
Oh my goodness, Honky Tonk Man, Dwight Yoakam.
There we go. Boots or sneakers?
Boots.
Yeah. Most unexpected artists on your playlist right now?
Oh, Charlie XCX. I saw this Brat Summer stuff all last year and I hated it because a lot of the people who were posting it, I'm like, I don't think we have anything in common. And then I heard this song 360 last week and I was like, oh my God, what is this? It's so good. And everyone's like, you didn't know what this is. And so it's killer. It's so good.
I love it. Good. I love it. So good. Would Delta Suite survive a honky tonk bar brawl?
Well, yeah, because I would like hide.
Okay, that's fair. Nashville or LA?
Come on, Nashville.
Hell yeah. One thing your fans would be surprised to know about you.
Oh my goodness. Good question. I know it's supposed to be rapid fire. I'm trying to think because I put so much of myself out there.
I feel like Entertainment Tonight with these rapid questions.
Yeah, no, this is good. I like that. It's like, it's expanding my brain. One thing you'd be surprised to know about me. Oh my goodness. I rarely eat vegetables. I don't know.
Okay. No, that's fine. I didn't know that about you.
Stage outfit, about that. They're not good.
That's okay. Stage outfit must have besides socks.
Oh. Okay. Actually, this will tie into the previous question. Yeah. Every show I've played in the last 5 years, I wear the same pair of underwear.
No.
Yep.
What the hell? Okay.
Now, that is a good one. Consider this. I haven't been on tour. So it's been one-offs, right? Like, it's not like it's been every day in a row. I haven't done a tour. So I probably would have to change that. But ever since the Stereo's reunion shows in 2019, it's been the same pair.
That's unbelievable. If Delta Suite were a cocktail, what would it be? What would be in it?
It would be a non-alcoholic old-fashioned. I actually love them.
I love that. Dream venue to play as Delta Suite?
Boots and Hearts.
Oh my God, dude. I miss it being in Bowmanville. That's where I'm from. And like, that's where it started. And then it was like, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years. And then they brought it over to Barrie, but yeah, I would love if they brought it back to Bowmanville.
I want that main stage. I want that catwalk.
Yes. Better crowd, country bar or music festival? We kind of talked about this earlier.
Different, man. It's kind of unfair to say better. Obviously festivals, you're playing to more people. So I'm going to go that way, but I love playing a good bar show as well.
Yeah, that's fair. What's harder, writing a heartbreak song or a party anthem?
Heartbreak song. I very rarely write things that make me feel sad.
Okay. Last one. If your music were the soundtrack to a movie genre, what would it be?
It would be like a bro, like American Pie style, like 90s revamp movie.
Dudes Rock.
It would be the most dude. I'm putting out a song this summer. I'll tell you right now, it's called Paradise, and it's the most dudes rock song of all time.
Hell yeah. I love when you do the dudes rock and then you do the like boys are back in town every time when you start. It kills me.
It's the perfect song.
Okay, so my final question that I ask every guest is, what's one thing you miss most about being a kid?
Like, you probably hear this answer all the time, but it's just like not worrying about like, grown-up thing, like bills and stuff like that. Like, and also I grew up in an era with no phones when I was a kid. Like, it was literally just like, scraping your knee on the sidewalk, getting Slurpees, and like going to Blockbuster, and that was life, man. And like, you didn't know any better. There's a lot of beauty in the childhood I was able to have that is no longer on this earth.
I know it sucks. And like, I'm younger than you and I still feel the same way. Like, mine was probably a little bit more technology, not that much more, but a little bit more. But I definitely feel you. But no, Pat, man, thank you so much. Drive 85 is out May 23rd. You're the man. And it's been awesome to be able to catch up with you after that last, I think, year and a half since we last spoke. So yeah, thank you, man, so much.
Dude, I appreciate you so much, man. Thank you. Reach out anytime, keep in touch, comment on my stories, and we're friends at this point. So I appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you.
I appreciate that. You're the man. All right, Pat, we'll talk to you later.
And that was the Quinn Show.